Lando Hands. Man, do I have a history with this show. Lando Hands is a preschool show that was created by Radical Sheep Productions, the company that gave us the classic Big Comfy Couch TV series. And while I have nothing but fond memories of that show, Lando Hands is a different story. This show used to scare the crap out of me, and it wasn't because of the creepy looking puppets, but rather an episode that I used to always fear would air whenever the show came on. What's interesting is that I tried to revisit the episode I'm about to talk about back in 2017. I don't know why, but one day I just remembered the show existed, and that it had an episode that used to make me piss my pants. I quickly realized 0 episodes of the show were available online though. In fact, I remember only being able to find one clip of it back then, and it wasn't from the episode I wanted to revisit, which disappointed me a lot at the time. Lucky for me, some fellow Canadians on the Lost Media Wiki forums wanted to find all the episodes, and one of them eventually found an episode list for the show. I remember reading through the list and seeing an episode titled Little Dreams, and I was sure this was the episode I was looking for. You'll see why in a bit. In 2020, every episode of the show was uploaded online by Lost Media Wiki user Banjo DeWolf, who owned every episode of the show on VHS tapes that he received from a Radical Sheep employee. I immediately looked through the uploads to find the episode I wanted to watch, and wouldn't you know, I was right about it being called Little Dreams. What made this episode scary for me though? Well, let me show you. Let's watch some good old-fashioned childhood trauma. The episode opens with, oh dear God. I'm sorry. The episode opens with the main character of the episode, Bungle, being sad about his baby sister receiving more attention from their mother. He tries to win the mother's attention over with a stick, but she makes it clear that she doesn't care, so Bungle wanders off and eventually falls asleep. Okay, there's nothing wrong with this episode so far. The jealous sibling plot is very common for these types of shows, but then Bungle begins to drift away into a dream. And what is his dream about? Being tiny. He climbs to the top of the flower to get a better view of his surroundings, but loses his balance and falls into his sister's soup. His sister mistakes him for a bug and calls the mom over to come and squash it. Here's the scene that made me fear this episode.
But here comes Bungle's mother.
To give the episode some credit, it does end on a wholesome note. After Bungle wakes up, his mother tells him that no matter how big he gets, he'll always be her baby. Okay, this scene obviously doesn't scare me now that I'm an adult, but I can see why it used to. For starters, it's rare to see a character almost die in a preschool show. Sure, it's a dream sequence, but we're still seeing a character in a preschool show trying to escape death and see what he thinks are going to be his final moments. The creepy looking puppets definitely play a part in it as well. Seeing one of these puppets out for blood is horrifying, even if they only think it's a bug they're trying to kill. And seeing them from this angle certainly doesn't help. Rewatching this episode around the time it had been posted online was an interesting experience. It's always fun to revisit a piece of media that used to scare you to see if it still does. And I love revisiting obscure Canadian shows from my childhood in general. Now, if you'll all excuse me, I now have the sudden urge to binge a bunch of obscure Canadian shows I grew up watching. Bye!